Camouflage. Life's an everyday adventure. That's my philosophy. I woke up with a smile today. For days and days, I had been excited about the picnic my parents promised to take Marco and me on today. It's going to be a simply glorious day, I thought as I got dressed. But it wasn't. I looked out my window and saw that it was dark and gloomy. As I walked downstairs to the kitchen, I began to wonder what I could do to make the sun come out. "Good morning," I said to my mother, trying to sound cheerful. "Good morning, Sweet Pea. I'm sorry about the weather. I guess we'll have to cancel our—" My mother was suddenly interrupted when my father ran into the kitchen. He was in such a hurry to tell us what the weatherman said on the radio that he was out of breath as he spoke. "Apparently, the clouds are moving fast, and the sun will be out in the afternoon." I jumped out of my chair shouting a Wild West Yahoo! "Okay, you two optimists, let's plan for our sunny picnic," my mother said, smiling. I ran outside to wait for Marco as my parents prepared our scrumptious feast. Marco was walking slowly into our yard. He looked a little sad until I told him what my father heard on the radio. Then he too let out a Wild West Yahoo! My parents finished packing our picnic and all was ready. Our favorite picnic spot was far away in a huge, beautiful park with tall trees and a babbling brook. We played I Spy until we arrived. "I spy something big and gray," I said with a frown. That cloud?" Marco responded as he pointed to the big, scary cloud above us. "I spy, something with a lot of colors," Marco said. "That rainbow!" I exclaimed as I pointed to the rainbow peeking through the dark clouds. By the time we arrived, the sun had indeed come out, and it was simply glorious. We spread our blankets and began to gobble up our yummy food. Then, for no particular reason, my toes began to tingle in my moccasins. "Let's go exploring," I said as I popped up. Marco, my father, and I hit the woods. My mother was already reading her book, so she said she would stay and watch our things. My toes were tingling crazily as I carefully investigated everything I saw, except the fallen tree trunk I tripped over. I fell face down in a big pile of leaves. Yuck! Next thing I knew, I heard my father whispering, "Molly, move slowly. There's a small frog in the leaves." I gently raised my head up out of the leaves. I didn't see a frog. My father pointed, but I still didn't see it. Marco stooped down to get a closer look, and right there next to me in the middle of the leaves was a brownish frog. It was the same color as the leaves. "Wow!" I exclaimed. I think it was a little too loud because the frog hopped away quickly. As it moved away from the leaves, I could see it clearly. I was amazed. My father said, "That's nature's camouflage." What's that?" I asked. "Many things in nature use camouflage. It is a way of hiding right in front of our eyes," my father explained. "Let's look for more hiders," he said quietly. We looked everywhere, on leaves, on tree trunks, on every flower we could find. Suddenly, something caught my attention out of the corner of my eye. It was Marco. He was jumping up and down, covering his mouth with one hand and pointing at me with the other. I looked to my left. I looked to my right. I looked up and down. Then I saw it. A beautiful yellow butterfly, the same color as my hair, was fluttering away from me. That butterfly was camouflaged on your head," Marco stated with amazement. My father explained that camouflage was also a way for creatures to protect themselves from danger. If they sense danger, their color allows them to hide easily and quickly on something the same color. "I guess that's what the yellow butterfly was doing on your head, Miss Molly. he was hiding for a few moments. We continued walking towards the brook, looking for more camouflaged creatures. I thought I saw something move on a large tree leaf, so I gently pulled the branch down a little. We all stared at the green leaf until finally we saw it. It was a small green caterpillar inching its way across. "A camo-pillar," Marco said jokingly. We all laughed as we headed back to share our discoveries with my mother. "Perfect timing," my mother said as she handed us each a cookie. "Let's finish packing up and you can tell me all about your adventure on the way home." My father woke us just as we turned into our driveway. "We're home," he said gently. My father walked Marco home while my mother and I unpacked the car. It was quite late, so we ate a little something and I headed to bed. "We'll be up in a few minutes to tuck you in, sweet pea," my mother said as she kissed me on the forehead. I sleepily climbed up the stairs and thought about our fascinating picnic adventure. Then I had a fun idea. I'll put on my pink PJs and lie very still under my pink sheets with my pink pillow covering my head. They won't even see me to tuck me in. I'll be camouflaged. When exploring in nature, be sure to look at things carefully, as there may be something camouflaged or hiding right in front of you. Molly Moccasins, everyday adventurer.